We can play the bizarre, bug-eyed Democrat Islamicist saying we're going to impeach that mother effer. And we can play the bizarre Nancy Pelosi daughter on TV saying my mother will cut the president's head off and he'll never know it. We can go through all these incredibly interesting clips and show it. The huge train wreck. You know, women from Islamic countries coming here and waving Palestinian and Islamic flags on election night, and you're not even allowed to serve in government in most Muslim countries or drive cars. And they don't come here to try to get us to put pressure on those nations to free women. No, no. They come here and wear hijabs and go to our public schools and teach our little girls how to wear them like it's a fetishized, cool, feminist thing. Well, it's the first day of the full new Congress, and the addled, dementia-ridden crime boss, Nancy Pelosi, has wasted no time with her cohorts as the Democratic Party moves into high gear to start the impeachment process of President Trump. And, of course, that would start in the House with a vote for the indictment, and then that would go to the Senate, one branch of government trying to remove the head of another branch of government. And if President Trump doesn't take action against these criminals and use the authority he has in the executive, it's a battle between sections of government, then he will deserve to be removed by these criminals. But looking at that collection of garbage yesterday on the Democratic side, the clown suits that the people were wearing, the bizarre mentally ill faces, you would think that it was a collection of homeless people who had been taken, you know, to a shopping mall by some joke reality show and dressed up in cartoon fancy suits. I mean, the Republicans have got their own problems, but the Democrats are a group of low IQ, mentally ill criminals who've been put in place by mega corporations that have bought and paid for them so that they know they will do their exact bidding. Now, I got to the office a while ago today, but I didn't come sit in the chair until the broadcast had already started. And that's because I've been doing a lot of research on the globalist master plan. And I've studied it in great detail. Not just what they put out on the surface, but what their founding documents are and what their real beliefs are and what they actually follow and what they actually stand for and what they actually believe. And I've told listeners that my biggest blind spot is that I don't watch a lot of movies and I don't watch a lot of popular culture. I study news, I study technology, I study history, I study developments, but I tend to shy away from pop culture because there's so much programming in it and it's so incredibly overt that it's painful. And the little bit of time that I'm not working, I choose not to look at it. Or I go into escapism and try to watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or something like that. I'm going to come in and work basically all day tomorrow for my children and for myself and for you. And I'm doing it not because I'm some wonderful hero. I'm doing it because I want to survive and I want to try to control my own destiny. And there is no doubt that there is a scientific elite on this planet who are in competition with each other, but only in their competition to become absolutely dominant and to then carry out the orderly extinction, they'd call it obsolete, of the species. And that's a fact. And so we can play the bizarre, bug-eyed Democrat Islamicist saying we're going to impeach that mother effer. And we can play the bizarre Nancy Pelosi daughter on TV saying, my mother will cut the president's head off and he'll never know it. We can go through all these incredibly interesting clips and show it. The huge train wreck. You know, women from Islamic countries coming here and waving Palestinian and Islamic flags on election night, and you're not even allowed to serve in government in most Muslim countries or drive cars. And they don't come here to try to get us to put pressure on those nations to free women. No, no. They come here and wear hijabs and go to our public schools and teach our little girls how to wear them like it's a fetishized, cool, feminist thing. So it's a plan. Yeah, I remember what they reported on last week. Women's march in mostly white city canceled for being too white. Print me that again. I never covered that. I saw that last week. And the Islamic people that run it, like Linda Sarsour, are such incredible racists that they said, you know, we're not having it because we've got a list of who's coming and they're almost all white, and white people are inherently bad. That is total weaponization of culture. Linda Sarsour's mother, of course, calls for, she writes top white papers legitimizing around the world the genital mutilation of little girls. Think about that. And she's a feminist leader who doesn't say a word about the hijab. In fact, she criticized women in an Iranian movement who took their hijabs off because you can be beaten or killed for that. And she said, you're just trying to get attention. Wow. Valiantly against a regime that could kill them and has killed many. She's saying, you get that hijab back on your head, woman. And, of course, she's linked to the father of the New Mexico jihadi who allegedly trained kids to shoot up schools. But the police just let them all go. They said, oh, you got a dead kid in here. Witnesses said he was tortured to death. It's your religion. It's Islam. Just like in Europe, they say, you know, Muslims are allowed to rape little kids. It's their culture. But see, I'm digressing. I'm digressing. Because all of this is just window dressing. I know what their master plan is. I know exactly what it is. And I also know that they are going into the final phase before they go operational. Everything else we've seen just been a beta test. And we're going to see things unfold in civilization, the likes of which we have never witnessed before. Now, I want to be very, very clear about this when we come back. The globalist technocrats have a dashboard, a control panel of ongoing mass experiments. They have crystal ball computer systems, actually called crystal ball. Palantir is another name for crystal ball, where they can predict the future with exact precision. That means they can also manipulate the future. And I've talked about that for 15 years. It's mainstream news now. But that's only one facet to this. We know where they're taking us. We know what they're doing in San Francisco. We know the group they're in. We know the plan. We know what they're partaking of. And so tomorrow I'm going to expose the DMT cult in San Francisco that runs Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter, everything, and what their master plan for the earth is. Because the Muslims aren't the #1 threat. The Chi-Coms aren't the #1 threat. Silicon Valley and who they work for and who they are and what they've done and who they're in communication with is the #1 threat. Now, let's be clear. That's who the entity chose to make contact with. That's why everybody else has got to bow to it, because the advanced technology is coming out of there. They got a dimensional gate. And China has been picked by this group to be the group that takes over the planet. They mean business. And their business is absolutely dumbing you down, torturing you, sucking your psyche out before you die a horrible death of cancer. That's Tim Cook's goal, is murdering you and your family. CBD-rich hemp oil is totally organic, all natural, something God gave us, and it doesn't have THC in it, and it's totally legal in all 50 states. This is where everybody's going. This is what your body actually needs. There are so many different spectrums of this natural oil that comes from hemp, now legal and lawful in all 50 states, that you need to just go research it for yourself. Now, obviously, there's been a giant marijuana legalization craze that Soros has funded the last 10 years. I've not been involved in that. It's a huge bubble. This is not marijuana. There are hundreds of varieties of hemp. This is industrial hemp that has all the good attributes, but not the bad attributes that turn people into potheads in their basements, picking and eating their boogers. This is the good CBD from the organic hemp oil. And there are so many great products that you simply need to go to InfoWarsStore.com and link over to WashingtonsReserve.com, or simply go to WashingtonsReserve.com yourself to look at all the products, to read about the history, and to see the facts for yourself. So 360 win. There are different CBD rich hemp oil extractions for many, many, many different uses. You owe it to yourself to go look at this for yourself, and to also understand it helps fund the info war. People wonder why I haven't gotten into CBD oil. Well, because some of the stuff's got problems, some of it can get you high, and some of it can get you arrested. This is not that. Legal in all 50 states. It's from hemp, not marijuana. It's totally legal. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we can ship to all 50 states right now from the great website, WashingtonsReserve.com.